Let me ask you this. Now, if you got the platform and you know that, you know what I'm saying? Like, what make you ask those questions like that?
After our first interview, you end up going back to prison.
Our people think Vlad is the police.
You do that interview
Yeah.
on the 22nd of August.
Yeah.
1 week later, you get pulled over and they take you straight to prison.
Niggas might hold you up to a high standard.
I'm not going to go shooting back at you.
You got a couple niggas indicted.
No, I didn't get anybody indicted.
You got a couple niggas indicted.
I didn't get it.
No, aren't you a cop or don't you work for the FBI or something?
Yeah, Vlad TV, the feds, Vlad TV, the police. The thing you and I have in common is that we're both accused of being the police.
Oh, yeah.
Arab got convicted.
Did he really?
Yeah. Yeah, and I was, of course, dragged into that situation as well because we did a bunch of interviews.
You the FBI for real, man. You done did real surveillance on me.
Right, with the feds.
You can't be a hip-hop fan without knowing who Vlad TV is. Vladimir Labavny, aka DJ Vlad, is most known for his interview style, which has garnered him millions of views, as well as millions of rumors. The main rumor that seems to prevail is that Vlad is a fed or a member of the hip-hop police force. It was once common practice for rappers to become more leery of the press as they became more famous and their time became more valuable. However, in these days and times, it is the exact opposite. Nowadays, some rappers seem to do just about anything for clout, with the younger generation going as far as bragging about killing their ops and self-snitching. The wild part is many of Vlad's interviews seem like pure interrogations. This vibe is largely due to the tone, weight, and precision of Vlad's questions. Whenever Vlad is interviewing any subject who defines himself as a street dude, Vlad is far less likely to ask about music and far more likely to ask for detailed accounts of alleged past criminal activity. Although one would say that Vlad is absolutely the feds, you won't find his name in any paperwork, nor will you hear him asking questions about open cases. However, as an interviewer, Vlad chases the most morbid sorts of gossip. He has a history of such interviews where rappers speak on alleged gun and gang violence. These are the 6 men that were indicted after doing a Vlad TV interview. Nearly 3 decades after Tupac Shakur was gunned down in Las Vegas, a reputed gang member who has made public statements about his involvement in the infamous shooting was arrested and indicted on a murder charge. Las Vegas police arrested Dwayne Davis, aka Keefe D, outside of his home on Friday, September the 29th of 2023. Morning before, the indictment was announced on a charge of murder with a deadly weapon with the intent to promote, further, or assist a criminal gang.
An in-depth look at the newly released body cam video of the arrest of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, the man charged in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Thanks for joining us live at 11. I'm Trisha Keene. And following his first court appearance yesterday, we show you what officers told Davis when he was arrested nearly a week ago.
Hey, Keith, Metro Police, come over here.
Channel 13 has obtained body cam video of when Metro Police took Dwayne Keefe D. Davis into custody. On Thursday, September 28th, a Nevada grand jury returned an indictment against Davis in the murder of rap icon Tupac Shakur. The next day, Metro Police made their way to Davis's home in Henderson to arrest him for the killing.
We got to put some leg shackles on you. It's just part of our policy. Are you wearing double pants, sir?
Video showing police putting handcuffs and leg shackles on Davis as they put him into one of the vehicles. Davis telling police that he was taking a walk before the arrest. In another video, you can hear police talk with Davis.
So what they got you for, man?
Oh, man. Biggest case in Las Vegas history.
Oh, yeah? Like recent?
September the 7th, 1996.
Oh, no. Wow. That's a long time away.
The officer and Davis also discuss when his home was raided this past July.
Oh, so they raided your house and stuff, huh? That was like
2 months ago.
Yeah.
They had my whole house lit up. This is Las Vegas Metropolitan SWAT team.
And we're very subtle then, huh?
And how it compared to the arrest last week.
I was walking down the street, this dude just jumped out. Come on, mother.
Davis told the officer he has lived in Southern Nevada for about 10 years. The Clark County District Attorney's Office and Metro Police both say Davis was a shot caller for the plan to kill Tupac in 1996. He faces 1 count of open murder with a gang enhancement. And Davis is set to be back in court on Thursday, October 19th, where he is expected to enter a not guilty plea. But could a decades-old deal struck between Davis and police in Los Angeles hurt the pending murder case? Well, more than a decade ago, LAPD detectives interviewed the then Southside Compton Crips leader about the murder of Christopher Wallace, better known as Notorious B.I.G. Wallace was gunned down just months after Tupac Shakur was killed. Retired Detective Greg Kading says the interview with Davis led to his admission of involvement in Tupac's murder. Davis confessed to giving his nephew the gun under a proffer agreement, which protects someone from being prosecuted. However, this deal could be an issue for prosecutors.
A defense attorney would likely attempt to say, well, you can't use those statements because they were subject to what's called a use immunity, in which they cannot be used against me.
The Clark County District Attorney's Office could not comment on the proffer agreement. For more on this case, head on over to our website at ktnv.com.
In October of 2018, Abdul Ibrahim West, aka AR-AB, alongside 8 others said to be members of a drug trafficking organization, were indicted on counts of distributing drugs in North Philadelphia. The charges include a conspiracy to distribute, the possession, and the distribution of Yale and heroin. Indictment identified AR-AB as the leader of the gang, and that the gang obtained high-end properties in Philadelphia to protect their supply. On November the 19th of 2019, AR-AB was found guilty of several counts of conspiracy and distribution. On April the 15th of 2021, AR-AB was sentenced to 45 years in prison.
On Tuesday, November 19th, federal jurors convicted AR-AB, real name Abdul West, and 3 members of his crew for turning their original Block Hustlers OBH record label into a sizable North Philly drug trafficking operation implicated in several murders, according to the Enquirer. AR-AB was officially charged in October 2018 along with 8 other men. He faces a mandatory minimum of 15 years in prison under recidivist provisions in federal drug law.
In December of 2020, Coswell Sr., aka Casanova, was indicted along with 18 alleged members of the untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation gang that were charged in connection with various racketeering, murder, narcotics, firearm, and fraud charges. As alleged in the indictment, members of the Gorilla Stone committed acts of violence, trafficked narcotics, and even engaged in fraud by exploiting benefit programs meant to provide assistance in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The FBI apprehended 17 of the gang members. However, Casanova was not detained until after an arrest warrant was issued for him. On December the 2nd of 2020, Casanova surrendered to federal authorities. On June the 27th of 2023, Casanova was sentenced to 188 months in prison.
Tonight, a Brooklyn rapper who goes by the stage name Casanova is wanted by the FBI. His real name is Caswell Sr., and the feds say he's a member of a violent street gang. Sr. is one of 18 members charged with drug trafficking and racketeering in the city and upstate. Federal agents believe Sr. could be in Atlanta. One of the suspects is charged with murdering a Poughkeepsie teenager in September.
Brooklyn-born rapper Casanova pleads guilty to federal racketeering and drug charges. The U.S. Attorney's Office claims Casanova led the untouchable Gorilla Stone Nation Bloods gang and directed a multi-state conspiracy in that role. Casanova copped to a shooting and a robbery and to trafficking more than 100 kilos of pot. He faces between 5 and 60 years in prison when he is sentenced in December.
Rapper and Philadelphia native Dwight Grant, aka Beanie Sigel, was arrested on Wednesday, August the 29th of 2012, 2 weeks before reporting to prison while driving through Delaware County. Sigel was a passenger in a Ford Fusion that was initially pulled over for driving erratically on I-95 southbound near Exit 8. In Tennycombe Township. Upon further inspection, Pennsylvania state troopers found several prescription bottles and a small amount of green on the driver. Sigel was arrested after troopers confiscated more than $4,600 bottle of syrup with a scratched-off label and prescription pills wrapped in plastic bags. Troopers also found a firearm in the center console of the Ford. Both men were convicted felons and weren't allowed to possess a weapon.
Only Action News was there this morning as rapper and Philadelphia native Beanie Sigel was brought in to face a Delaware County judge. Police say they arrested Sigel around 3:15 this morning. It happened during a traffic stop on I-95 South near Exit 9 in Tinicum Township, Delaware County. Police say they found drugs and a gun in the car. Police say Sigel and the driver of the car have been charged because the two are convicted felons and are not allowed to possess a firearm. Sigel, whose real name is Dwight Grant, is scheduled to report to prison in September for failing to file a federal tax return.
Sigel began his 24-month sentence for failing to file tax returns at the Federal Detention Center in Philadelphia on September the 12th of 2012. Sigel was also sentenced to 23 months in county jail for illegal possession of prescription drugs to be served concurrently with his federal sentence. On August the 14th of 2014, Sigel was released from the Federal Correctional Institution, serving out the rest of his sentence in a halfway house in Philadelphia.
Beanie Sigel's apparently out of prison. Yesterday, an Instagram user named Wayno posted an image of Beanie Sigel with the caption, "My hitter back." Beans was incarcerated in 2012 for failing to pay more than $728,000 in federal taxes between 1999 and 2005. In 2013, he was sentenced to an additional 6 to 23 months after getting arrested for possession of a controlled substance.
In October of 2023, BMF affiliate and former Big Meat's right-hand man, Chad Brown, aka J-Bull, was rearrested on federal drug charges in his home of St. Louis for distribution as well as fraud. The alleged fraud was based on receiving a COVID-19 PPP loan intended for struggling businesses and employees. Chad Brown, aka J-Bull, pleaded guilty in U.S. District Court in St. Louis to 1 count of bank fraud and 1 count of using and writing false documents. As a part of his plea, J-Bull admitted to fraudulently applying for and receiving a $20,833 loan from the Paycheck Protection Program.
Thanks, Valerie. New at 9, the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of Missouri announcing 34 suspects face federal charges. Authorities say the defendants are part of a group known as the Black Mafia Family. Fox 2's Jeff Bernthal joining us live downtown with why this case is expected to put a major dent in local drug trafficking. Jeff.
Yeah, Jasmine, this is how one federal authority characterized things. He said this is a takedown of major drug trafficking operations that are responsible for the main supply of methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl into the St. Louis area. There's even an accusation that drug traffickers profited by applying for COVID relief loans.
The opioid crisis right now is claiming thousands of lives a year.
The investigation conducted by the St. Louis Gateway Strike Force, part of the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force, including members of federal, state, and local law enforcement.
I think that dismantling this organization is going to make a significant impact on community safety.
Officers and agents recovered fentanyl, methamphetamine, firearms, and cash. Those indicted include Carl Von Garrett, accused of laundering nearly $1 million of drug proceeds in a 3-month period. Tiffany Tiff BMF Nelson faces money laundering charges. Chad J. Bo Brown, accused of submitting a fraudulent tax form to obtain a PPP loan. Robert Lewis is accused of distributing fentanyl and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Robert Honest Sims faces a drug charge related to meth. Samir Simpson Bay faces a drug distribution charge related to fentanyl. Jeremy Wheelo Steele indicted on a drug charge related to fentanyl. Authorities say cooperation between federal, state, and local authorities was key.
People should really rest easy that we're out there every day working to protect the community, to protect their families from the opioid scourge, and we're just really trying to make the St. Louis area a safer place to live.
Some of the agencies we're told involved with this investigation include the Drug Enforcement Administration, the FBI, the IRS, Criminal Investigations, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, St. Louis County Police Department, as well as other members of the St. Louis Gateway Strike Force. Reporting live downtown, Jeff Bernthal, Fox 2 News.
In 2018, 2 private jets traced back to Terrell Davis, aka Ralo, were searched by the police and found to contain 964 pounds of green. worth nearly $2 million, which is illegal at both the state and federal levels. In Georgia, this will lead to Ralo being arrested in April of 2018 for conspiracy to possess with the intent to distribute at least a key of marijuana. Additionally, Ralo's record label, Famerica Records, was alleged of being a front business for the gang Famerica, with Ralo as the leader. Ralo was also charged and sentenced for money laundering and racketeering.
Atlanta rapper accused tonight of leading a gang that was allegedly caught trying to move nearly $2 million worth of pot through Metro Atlanta.
11 Alive's Naima Abdullahi has exclusive reaction now from Ralo's team tonight.
Ralo's team tells me he's being targeted and is sitting in jail wrongfully accused. But a federal criminal complaint lays out how investigators allegedly connected Ralo to the operation. Before we dig any deeper into this, let's tell you who 23-year-old Terrell Davis, aka Ralo, is, if you're not familiar with Atlanta's hip-hop scene. The artist has a huge social media presence and following, with more than 200,000 monthly listeners on Spotify and song collaborations with T.I., 2 Chainz, Future, Gucci Mane, and so many others. And now, criminal complaint alleges the rapper, who's called this apartment complex in Atlanta home, a complex just raided yesterday, is the leader of a gang referred to as Famerica, a name Ralo regularly uses to refer to his music team. But according to the complaint, the investigation dates back to December, when investigators stopped 3 vans leaving Fulton County Airport. Inside one, they allegedly found 520 pounds of marijuana worth about $1 million on the street. Ralo wasn't inside the van, but 3 people arrested were allegedly connected to him, according to investigators. And evidence investigators are now using: an old Instagram post from the next day that refers to $1 million lost. Fast forward to this past weekend, a complaint says a K-9 unit met Ralo's plane after it landed at PDK and found just under $1 million worth of marijuana. Ralo and 8 others were arrested. Tonight, his team still strongly believes he's being targeted because of his faith as a Muslim. They also discredited the Instagram post as evidence, calling it just entertainment. They also point out Ralo owns the complex that was raided and lets people stay rent-free as a way to give back to the community. Naima Abdullahi, 11 Alive News.
Torres Hatch Jr., aka Boosie, is facing new charges in connection to his arrest in San Francisco last year, less than 2 weeks after a federal judge out the previous case against him. U.S. Attorney Tyra McGrath's office filed another indictment against the 41-year-old on Friday for 2 counts of firearm possession, one involving interstate commerce as a convicted felon, and one knowingly possessing a firearm by dealing with the abuse of a controlled substance.